7 p.m. on another Tuesday night. We are here on DLP TV as we continue our series, Getting to Know Our Candidates. I am Courie Cox and I'll be your host again tonight. Remembering last week, we spoken to the candidate for St. Lucie, Mr. Alvin Topping, and also the candidate for St. Michael South, Mr. Nathaniel Boyce. And this week, we have two more exciting candidates, Mr. Andrew Cave, Christchurch West, and Ms. Marie Armstrong. She is a candidate for St. Michael North. So we're going to spend some time talking to those guys, and also former General Secretary Derek Allen. He will be along with us a little later, just to spend a little cameo. So look forward to hearing from him also. So let's go right into speaking to Mr. Andrew Cave. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening, Courie. How are you doing? I'm fantastic.
I have never noted on that.
First of all, good night, Barbados, and I thank you for the invitation to DLP TV, my brother.
We have been spending some time here getting to know all of our candidates, and we are certainly looking forward to getting to know a young beautiful and this will be your second time representing the constituency of Christchurch West on behalf of the Democratic Party. What does that mean to you?
Some persons might say, Courie, it's an opportunity. Let me say this right, Courie. It's a serious responsibility. I want to thank the powers that be that give me an opportunity again to represent people of Christchurch West. Everywhere going Christchurch West, persons were asking me, Cave, you're coming back. Don't leave us here hanging, So I feel it's an honor and a privilege to represent good people of Christchurch.
And you tell me, but not only me, tell our viewers out there. Let's say good evening to all of our viewers. We have persons as far as the diaspora across the UK, North America, the Caribbean, right here, our own DLP family. Give us a little bit of the background of Andrew Cave. What motivates you, Andrew?
Well, first, Courie, let me just give you a little background. So, in 1970, I was born to Daniel Cave and Justin Cave. My father was a high-ranking British military officer, and wherever he was deployed, my mother, brother, and I went with him.
So this is a picture of your.
So this is a picture of my dad.
Okay.
And my dad resides in Texas now. Hi, Dad.
If he's watching, right?
If he's watching. Yeah. And this is my mom here. So my mom left Barbados and went to Singapore to meet my father. Married my dad in Singapore. I was born in Singapore, and then we left. We went to England, where my brother was born. Then we lived in Sekong in Hong Kong, and then we moved to Bangkok in Thailand. Then we left there. We went to Cyprus, where my dad left us. I went to war. Courie, so listen to this, right? Listen to this.
I'm trying to keep up with you.
Listen to this.
We have to hear.
We then came to Barbados. Because my father was then going to Germany. Courie, this is 4 decades. I'm still on vacation.
Well,
Right? So understand this. My name is Spring is buried in 4 of us right here. I'm here to serve the of Barbados.
so nothing is in Germany or England or Hong Kong.
Nothing.
Everything is right here.
Right here, my heart. My heart is right here.
West and Oregon.
Right there.
So what motivated you on to get into politics?
Fantastic question. So I always ask myself, Courie, why was I born? Why was I born? And later I discovered that our father of independence, Courie, Errol Walton Burrow, and Lee Kuan Yew were very good friends, and they went to university together. Okay, and Errol Burr saw the value in Lee Kuan Yew and what he did in Singapore. Right? When Errol Burr tried to bring the Singapore model here to Barbados, persons misunderstood what he was trying to do. And they actually thought he wanted to bring communism action. And they voted against him in the mid-70s, late 70s. And but understand this today, Singapore today has a surplus of $206 billion in surplus. Well, and in addition to that, they have $501 billion GDP. When we hear of Barbados, our GDP, our debt to GDP is 103. And so you can see for it, results online, the Singapore model work. So my quest really, Courie, is to bring the Singapore model for churches. That is my quest. Some person, when I share that with some persons, Courie, they say to me, that's a big undertaking here. It is. But when should I do something that's not big? If I can do it by myself, I don't need God. I want something big enough that I have to call upon the Lord. And if I have to call upon the Almighty, so be it. And I want people of Prince Church to put their hands in my hand and let us create a local economy.
And do it together.
And let's do it together.
So before we get into the really hard politics, Andrew, what are some of the key experiences or challenges in your life that has shaped who you are today?
Courie, that's the question again. I would say there are three instances that stand out to me. And they have to do with my children. I have 6 children.
6.
Yeah, don't let it stop my fool you.
6.
Don't let it stop my 6. Listen, I tell people that I mean, if they see me sharp, I'm fast. Yeah, but on a serious note,
So you will contribute to this NAS that the current currently has in the mess. So you're ensuring that there are more future contributions to be made.
I made a valuable contribution to the NAS, but
So
out of 6 of my children, 3 of my children contributed to my shape who I am today. Really give me the opportunity to build my character. And I remember instance in 2016 with my daughter, Serenity kid. She was born with 3 holes in the knee above. And that was a very hard, a bitter pill to swallow when the doctor came. What is this? In addition to that, she has trisomy 21, which person's been known as Down syndrome as well. So that's another challenge as well. But she's a sweet little baby girl. It's my heart. But nevertheless, when the doctor told us that she has to have the operation, if not, she will die. Right? When I heard the cost of the operation, I tell you now, it was $340,000. Doctor told me that we have to get. If not, we're talking with that. But this, it was bigger than me. So I went to God and God granted me, helped me to find the funds to facilitate that process with me. Today, Serenity, massive, Serenity's 8 years old today, and she's very healthy.
So can you continue?
My next challenge was my son Elijah, who went to China. And understand this for me. Could you imagine that of all the children left from Barbados went to China, my son Elijah was the only person in Wuhan where the coronavirus originated or started. And Courie, I for 3 weeks I didn't sleep. When I finally heard Elijah said to me, Daddy, all the other Chinese children are home to be there to check the parents. And only him and another Nigerian student is on campus. Imagine that. And he told me that food was coming sporadic. They didn't have a set time for them to be fed. And so that was quite troubling. But why this particular instance stood out for me? Because when Elijah got the opportunity to come home, he said, no, Daddy, I stick it at home. And Elijah finished his course when he went. He did the management of science in China and he stuck it out and he graduated. Anytime I reach a tough moment, I remember Elijah. Because he stick up there. Next one I think is most heart-wrenching. It's my first son, Shaquan. You know, I want to get Shaquan. As most persons may know, obviously he died, unfortunate circumstance. I just want to say to all persons, fathers, I understand what it means, how you feel to lose a son or not. I understand. Sometimes even standing up, talking to friends, even if I'm in a meeting, something would draw up my memory and I remember my son Siobhan. I have to ask my excuse, but sometimes I would just openly cry. Because for you know they said, you know what they say about us men, that we are emotionally constipated. But you get constipated. I try and get it.
So you're emotionally, you also be emotionally sick.
I must be a lynx because you say that Jesus had a link there, Corey. For Jesus is the biggest man who walked the earth. Just what?
I don't mean for her father. And continue, how have these personal experiences shape you? There are many children who are living with disabilities. Some people feel as if you're in adequate facilities to cater for them. There's a lot of crime and violence going on in the country also. So being a father to a child with a challenge, with our same kind of stuff. And beautiful child, you'll never think sometimes, huh? But still, the reality is that she takes special attention at times. How does that help you? How does that help you to really see or to really empathize with the challenges and experiences of persons across Barbados with children with many different kinds of disabilities or challenges that they're going through? How does that shape your perspective?
Corey, when Serenity came in, we weren't ready. We weren't ready. We weren't mentally ready. In no sense. Now that Serenity shows us. I can say this to you. I remember a day I purposely counted times that Serenity kissed me. And it was 95 times that this church. 95 times he wanted. And so I when I see Serenity, I don't see her as being it's been a challenge for me. I don't see it as being a challenge. But I could understand the other challenges that the other parents encounter. Having facilities to enter buildings, you know, having the facilities, the schooling facilities, that to give them the opportunities to be who they could be, given the opportunity so that they can, you know, you can explore the talents, right? Because the teacher always tells me that Serenity is very helpful. And I always tell my wife that, or suggest to my wife that when Serenity gets a little older, she should help her to integrate into her what my wife does. She looks after persons. So I believe that in the country we don't have enough opportunities for persons who are a little different, who are a little challenged in other ways to add value to themselves and also to the country. I believe that we should explore those possibilities where persons who are challenged, you know, to explore if things so.
I think certainly that will definitely help you as a politician. As you go around, you meet people, you talk to people. And like I said, this is the second time you'll be running for Christchurch West, actually. Why will you be returning to Christchurch West? Tell me about that connection with the Christchurch West people. And not just tell me, but tell the viewers who are watching you about that special connection that you have with those states.
Well, Corey, you may or may not. I grew up in Rockley. I played football for Torrey United. Terry Cillian, I don't know if you know Randolph Hawks, may he rest in peace. And many other persons in Rockley I played with. So as it relates to coming back as a candidate, those persons from the footballing community actually giving they're coming back. We really need you to come back to Praise Church West because truth is right. You went to school. That's some things. A lot of them went to school. That's at some things. The school, the owners, the clerks, the ambulance from Southwark Road, and the Rollins from that. I went to some of this, and in the time by the time when we went to some of this, and Master Smith was the answer. And I even remember time when this guy I felt so vindicated when he had because remember this guy he had humbling and used to call him cocky or unfair me at school and they went to the call him to stay up there. They had asked Mr. Smith give me his belt and told me to put some lashes in cocky man. I felt so good for it. I felt so good, right? And as a matter of fact, I saw hockey in Hamilton. Recently, when he came back to visit, he said, teenager, police to call me teenager, Rocky. He said, teenager man, I can hope you got my vote. So, I have the support from all sectors pretty much.
And then you would have sat on the constituency council for Church West also, so I'm sure that would have also given you some insight and experience into being around the Christ Church West constituency.
Yes. It's quite interesting because we did some fun days. We had the nurses come in and test persons, but sugar and those different exercises that that would reach out to the community, engage the community. So they have like football, and in that time they had the Thompson Cup,
Mhm.
and I would do
Thompson Memorial Classic.
the Thompson Memorial Classic, yes. And as a matter of fact, I sat on board of management with the Royal United
Right.
so far.
So let's get a little bit into your professional experience. And how has your professional journey prepared you for this role with politics? And let's go back a little more. I mean, from when were you affiliated with the deal? Sure.
Affiliated from the DLP from 2010.
So you've been a member now for something around 15 years or so.
15
It's
years.
pretty long. So you gotta get the question to you. How has your professional journey, how has your professional experience
Oh,
prepared you for this journey with politics?
but already the truth is that by the time I was sure we're writing on my report, talks too much. Talk I did. I think the teacher even wrote on my report, that's just talking in sleep.
I thought it was the only person. I got quite a bit of he's talking to me. I used to get up, I swear, every single semester. So that is when I go home, actually.
Yeah. And so when I got the opportunity to join the beautiful profession of insurance, they were part of it. It allowed me to be Andrew. Because I love people, I love to connect with people, and so speaking to people, listening to people. So with selling life insurance is a tangible product. And truth is that you just can't sell a person a policy. You are listen first before you can make informed. And so I reinvented the way I sell insurance. So it's not about selling Courie a policy, but it's about solving a problem. So I just don't sell a policy, sell policies. I solve problems. And the same principle mirrors here as relates to politics. Right? The same principle mirrors free. Right? I don't sell promises, but I solve. Same principle. It's about solving problems and serving people.
Service is very important. I will continue by asking, what skills and insights from your previous jobs do you think will be beneficial in serving your constituents?
Courie, my gift to connect persons. There's a saying that in order to have legitimacy to ask for a man's hand, you must first give your heart. You must become selfless. And I remember the year in 2011. In 2011, I did a course called DLP course. Yeah, no, Courie. I graduated. I taught the DLP course. I was the only person. I got the golden plaque. And so that demonstrated to me that I had capacity to be able to connect with persons. It's called emotional intelligence. And so I use these same skills of listening to persons. Because persons always think that in order to sell things to be a business person, you gotta have a sweet mouth. No, it's not about having a sweet mouth for you. It's about listening to the people. Because the truth is, a doctor does not sell medication. A doctor solves problems, right? And so we got to do a better job as politicians. We got to do a better job in listening to the hearts of the people and actually meeting them where they are and serve them best.
Let's delve a little bit into your community involvement. How have you been involved in the community of this?
Right, I remember just over a year ago, I had the opportunity with my CD. I must acknowledge it. His name is Mr. Robin Watson. With the leadership of Mr. Watson and my team, we were able to contribute 400 bucks to for you. But we believe that reading is very important. If you don't travel, Courie, you should read because when you reading gives you the opportunity to experience other cultures. Take you outside the bubble of Barbados. Take you outside the bubble of Barbados. So
what are the core values that guide you both personally and professionally?
my core value is to be always measured by what is done. Right. As you know, nobody is perfect. We fall down, but we get them. And what I try to do every single day, try to be the best and do that all wants to be. Right?
So, what is your vision for the constituency of Great Church West?
Oh, fantastic, right? I thought you would never get to that point.
I said a lot about that. You feel rather smart.
So, my vision for Great Church is to become financial hub. Financial hub. Right. Again, I know it's a big undertaking. I know that. but I know God's help the people of Richards West, we will be able to achieve this. Thus far, we are able to sit down with some of the some corporate players in the market, some corporate players, some investors that would invest in the program. I don't really want to get in too much in it for you, right? I don't want to get rid too much, but how the model will be structured is that the investors would invest into this particular program. We have fellows and ladies from off the block, around the block, in the block, wherever they are in Christians Rest and wherever in Barbados, and bring them into the whole program and the produce that they grow, because what we're going to be doing is aquaponics, hydroponics. And the produce that they're growing, we will sell back to the investors, right? Creating a local market. And that's what I want to do.
I can certainly have said that, Andrew, most definitely. Let's continue a little bit into the constituency. What do you think are some of the more pressing issues in Christchurch?
Right? There was a time that I was in the block. I decided that more is more than field and doesn't be up to the law. And the truth is that when I go back on the blocks, visit topics of this West, I can still see some of those same the sons and fathers that I grew up with on the same block. So I can see like 2-3 generations still on the block. So it is a sense of hopelessness. If you see generations and generations still on the block, it's hopelessness. So if you meet a man that doesn't care, he will do anything. So I believe that we should create some systems and structures for them to explore the talents. Because truth is, Courie, the system that we have here is it's an academic system. Let's look at like Messi, for example. Right? Let me look at Messi. Person saw like Messi, right, from a very young age, right, and saw the talent, and they put him in a place called the La Masia. Okay, the La Masia is a football factory. As a matter of fact, Courie, I heard about the La Masia and I decided to call it La Masia because my son Jadon was pretty good at football, and I spoke to one of the directors of the La Masia, and the guy told me, Mr. Cave, I'm glad that you called, but you have to be very, very, very special. As a matter of fact, your son will have to be better than Messi in order for it to come into La Masia. So I'm saying that in Barbados, we need to create structures and systems that will be able to harness the giftings and talents from very young. Not only from an academic point of view, but we have to explore other areas where persons could explore the giftings and talents, because there are many persons on the block that are good at other things outside of the academic system that we have in.
That is definitely true, Andrew. For any of you who may be joining us a little late, just to remind you, we're continuing our series as we get to know our candidates. And tonight, we're interviewing Mr. Andrew Cave. He is a recently ratified candidate for Christchurch West, a returning candidate having represented the area on behalf of the Democratic Party in the 2022 election. Later on, we're going to interview candidate Donna Marie Armstrong. Also, he's a candidate for St. Michael North. We'll hear all of that and more. Let me continue with the candidate and also my candidate, because I don't think I mentioned that. And we're just turning Christchurch West. Well, so he is my candidate also. So for sure, I'm going to think if you answer my questions correctly, well, you'll have a full son. We'll get one vote, my brother. Oh, promise? Of course. How can you be taking the case constituents like myself to ensure that our voices are heard?
Corey, I recently went.
One of my favorite places to be.
Yes, and I grasp courage because I know that this particular person behind this particular door bought another way. And I knocked on the door, and she came to the door, she opened up, she had on the same hat, and said I listened to her, right? And I listened to other persons in that particular facility, right? And they said to me, when they made things that they would love to see is lights back in bonnets persons. So that particular project is for our carers. So I letting the persons know in bonnets that I hear you, and truth is for it. Truth is that we have to find ways to bring the people back. Because truth is the reason why these things fall apart, because our society is falling apart. Right? Let me go on for you. I don't believe that in Barbados, and I can put my head on the ground. I don't believe in Barbados that we have an economic problem. I believe that we have a social issue, a social issue, a social deficiency. And if we get that social deficiency right, I believe that our economics will line up. Just like the Singapore one, David, our the Honorable David Thompson had it right. We are more than the economy, but we are a society. So Corey, I just want the people of Great Church Reston that Andrew Cave is here to serve. Andrew Cave has heard your cry. Andrew Cave has heard you, and I am here to serve you from the bottom of my heart.
So I'll tell you what, there are a lot of young people in Great Church West. There are a lot of young people who can be found along the St. Matthias area, the same previously mentioned Monix area. And there's some up in Simmons Land, in Renview area. How do you intend to inspire and engage these young people into this?
Corey, when I go on the block, many times I am able to have the opportunity to go on the block. And I go on the block and I said, Chief, where did you go to school? Or I went to Carson College. The other one, where did you go to school? Went to school, we went to Lodge Colomere Foundation, all these guys. See, listen, I got a bursary. So you better than me. So
Are supposed to be.
yes.
Right.
But Corey, you have to tell them that
For sure.
that's slang.
Let them know the bits.
And let them
You're
right. And many of them came up to us. And I said, you must say that, sure. This I give you, I cannot give you, so I want you. So the truth is, Corey, persons walk through every day. So I have to be on my guard. I have to go on my, I have to be the best behavior every single time I go in the community.
So I'll ask you this. What initiatives do you think are necessary to provide better opportunities for the next generation?
Right? I believe that with the school system up here, it has served its time. The 11 plus, the 12, you set 11 plus, or you set 11 plus. Well, we all did well for this time, for that thing. But I believe I believe if we continue to judge a fish by its ability to climb the tree, right? That fish, or that fish, that fish can't climb the tree. So there are some persons in our society who have other talents, other giftings, things that they can do. Right now, we as a country, we as a people, we as a community have to create. We have to create the structures and systems to give those persons the opportunities to explore their talents, because they're not structures and they're not systems in place for them to explore their giftings.
So let me ask you a little bit about Andrew, sort of politics yet again. What are some of your interests and hobbies, Andrew? Things you like to enjoy that.
Corey, I like football, but
That's an understatement, I think.
I love football, but little do you know that I was in Barbados, this #1 dance football dance academy in the 80s and 90s. Right?
That's Fresh Academy?
Dance Fresh Academy.
That's Fresh.
Dance Fresh Academy, and it was
Anyone who's ever heard of Dance Fresh Academy,
Yeah.
or knows about Dance Fresh Academy, feel free to leave your comments in the comment section.
so
This is the picture of you, Andrew, in Dance Fresh.
yeah, that Fresh Academy.
Which one of these are you on?
The one on the to the left.
So this is what? This is couple. Describe this to me a little bit. Give us the context.
So this was at the Gala Award. We got a medal, and this was the Gala Awards, and this was the last performance, because they put us on last, because if we were to put on, if they placed us high up in the program, no persons were in the auditorium. So they put us last and kept the auditorium filled. Everybody stayed until we finished.
So Dance Fresh was the featured act.
Yeah.
So as we move from the 70s and the 80s and we come into the 2020s, Andrew, how do you maintain a work-life balance to ensure that you remain involved?
Right. When I'm at work, I when I'm home, I'm home with my wife. So I just try to do as best as I can as this balance it, and that part is great. Because I think once I'm at work, I put my best foot in, I give my all when I'm at work. I have to balance it off when I'm just.
So tell me a little bit about Christchurch versus heritage or environment that you're passionate about preserving or even promoting.
Right. So when we speak about Christchurch West heritage, I can't help but think about the fears on Hastings Rocks. I remember when some attacks happened, fears, the entire community. So you have persons from sergeants, some players, some bodies. Everybody will come down and support that particular event, right? I find that has dwindled a lot. Again, just like the like symbolics, I believe that's a part of our heritage. You can't think of heritage and tradition without thinking about the like symbolics.
That was a big thing.
It wasn't it's a big thing, but how we can marry, the innovation to that tradition, because I saw recently drones in the States where they do displays and so like so I believe that there's room to improve our heritage for church.
Sure. Christchurch West has its unique needs and advantages. How do you plan to harness and enhance these for the benefits of all?
Come again.
Christchurch West has its own unique needs and advantages.
Right.
How do you plan to harness and enhance these for all of the residences? Let's take, for example, there's different social demographics in Christchurch West, as we both know. So it gives to the unique needs of the constituents. But how do you plan to enhance all the benefits?
Right, so this goes hand in hand with our plan for our plans as it relates to for Church West to become the financial. So what we plan to do, we have a program set up where we're gonna show to that specific profit it's speaking about. Right? There we're gonna look at the other demographic which would encompass persons from the villages and kids, right? And what our quest is really to bring the two together, to really the bridge. Because once we get this right, Courie, right? I know it's going to impact it in such a positive way that it will have less friend. So it's about merging the two demographics together.
Thank you so much, Andrew. And as we bring this segment to an end, I want to give you the final word, Andrew, to say to the residents of Christchurch West and to our wider supporters and family in the Democratic movement.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to represent you. I'm here for you. Or can I give them my number?
It's your number, Andrew. So my number. It's your number.
So I want to listen. Everybody up there, do you have a pen? Get your pen and you call me. 231-7698. 231-7698. Andrew K. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless Christchurch.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Mr. Andrew Cave, the recently radicated Christchurch West. Transitioning from Andrew, we're going to Miss Dawn Marie Armstrong. She is the new candidate for St. Michael North. I'm sure Dr. Dawn Marie Armstrong, because in the 2022 election, she won Miss Dawn Marie Armstrong, but she has since completed all her studies, and we're going to welcome Dr. Dawn Marie Armstrong to be with us tonight, and I'm sure she has a lot and lots to say. Just a quick reminder while we're here, guys, that St. Michael St. is going to have their monthly branch meeting on Sunday, the 16th of February, 2025, and the time is 4:30 p.m. The location is the Commonwealth School, and speakers will be Senator Ryan Waters and the Vice President of the Democratic Party, Ms. Felicia John. And we'll also have an address for the expert and the candidate for St. Michael St. Senator Andre Mora. Welcome back to DLP TV. Tonight, we're continuing to get to know all of our candidates. And for the last 30 to 45 minutes, we will have been speaking with Mr. Andrew Cave. He is the candidate for Christchurch West on behalf of the Democratic Labour Party. But now we have Dr. Dawn Marie Armstrong, and she will be the new candidate for St. Michael North. Good night to you, Dr. Armstrong.
Good night, Courie.
Good night, Dr. Dawn. How are you? I am pretty good myself. Tell us a little bit about Dr. Dawn. Tell us a little bit about the transition and the sacrifice that you made from Dawn Marie Armstrong to Dr. Dawn Marie Armstrong, those late nights studying, missing your family, your friends, being in the cool city of London. Tell us a little bit. Becoming a mother. Talk to us, Dawn.
I was the last day we were on vacation, so after my holiday, come back for 2021. and we had got the word prior to the announcement that she was gonna happen. And I got so energized and ready, you know. And I always say that those 3 weeks that I had to hit the ground in the dirt, so obviously recognizing that this call isn't for the weak, you know. Being thrown into, you know, the public light and people having the opportunity to, I guess when you ask people for a vote, they could, you know, judge your character, judge the way you carry yourself, judge the things you do. So I definitely feel like having that opportunity to, you know, be caught off guard and to still be so well prepared for that race in 2022, you know, really did help me to judge whether or not, when I made the decision at 21 that I wanted to become a politician, helped me to see that I was really ready for that. With respect to St. George South, I think at the time the party, you know, needed me, because obviously my ambition was to step my seat at the time, and you know, jostling positions and you know, coming into it, I wasn't the most senior at the time, so I didn't quite get what I wanted. So, you know, so I held back, ran the race, fortunately we were successful. I got no back into Michael and ready to see how it goes.
Candidate. Definitely makes you a better person, a better candidate for this time around.
I also feel like where is it? I think I'm a figure that attracts quite a bit of dialogue, and I think what 2022 has done is given me more of a profile in terms of, you know, knocking on the door and people already saying, "Oh, we're for." I always ask, "Oh, do you know who I am?" You know, people always tell me, "You see what I do," and they don't see what I do. This person in the neighborhood, you know, coming in, and they always show this enthusiasm, you know, when they see my face. And in my profession as a psychologist, I quite enjoy, you know, the conversation, getting to know people. And with politics essentially being a person, it allows me to tailor my approach in a more human-centered way, I'd say. So I definitely find I touch people just as they touch me, understanding their needs and equally being even more driven, because you would know that I love return home for other reasons. But I've made it in my life within the last 6 months that are in, and come what may, I am grateful to the people that make it hard for me.
So before we get really heavy, Dawn, tell us a little bit about fathering.
A little bit about me. I'm very driven. I always say that, very driven. I've always been very ambitious. As I said back in 2008, I was just 21 years old. I contested in the case of the elections and contested successfully. I was against the leadership. Not authentic and authentic yet. I think I'm a very upfront individual. I think very no nonsense, I suppose. Under the tough outer, there is a very warm-hearted, you know, woman who really believes that in nurturing her own daughter, she's come to understand that there is a responsibility to nurture future generations of, I want to say, children to come. And it's not just about children, but it's about reshaping Barbados in the way that I have come to know it and the way that it has shaped me as a young woman, soon to be an older woman. I always get kind of tricky trying to decide, do I call myself young or yeah, exactly. So that's been so.
So,
So I've done a 20-year-old sister soon to be 21. And I keep thinking, she's the young person. So it's a bit late deciding whether or not, well, I'm still a young thing. So technically I'm under 40, I'm still a young thing. But I definitely feel that my ability to nurture has really come to the forefront in being a mother and sharing that responsibility to more than shape future generations to come and hopefully be able to build the life that I would want as we age, to see certain things and to put certain things in place and to hopefully advance our systems and to continue to develop our country. I would hope in time in another 30, 40 years, we will be able to say that we made a difference, in Barbados. And for me, that's all there is really. I guess I haven't shared a lot, perhaps, and I've come to value my privacy as well, being in this space. And I guess you don't want too many people to know how vulnerable you can become, in that instance. But there's a lot to learn. My constituents know me very well. They know how real conversations can get with me, and equally, I like to know that I'm approachable in that way.
well, I want you to strictly, as a parent, how refreshing and therapeutic is it to see life through the eyes of like this? Person who doesn't know which from poor, away from poor.
Yeah, my daughter is 4, so she's a toddler. She acts like an adolescent though. As a parent, it is wonderful to receive what I would say the love of a child. It sounds really strange, but my daughter just expresses her profound love for me at every single turn. Mama, I love you. Mama, I love the way you take care of me. Mama, I love the way you do my hair. And it just makes me feel as if, somebody hate that sometimes receive. Because I tell people, and we had a training session 2 weeks ago, and I tell people there's a real tough thing to be a dad. It's a real tough thing to wear your party colors, wear your party paraphernalia. It's a real tough thing to be on, social media championing because of your party. So you get a lot of hate in this country when people know that you back the party of our barrier, you're seeking to take it forward. So when you have that hate being counteracted with the love of a child that just sees you for you, it's the most heartwarming feeling you could ever imagine. And I said, with her innocence and her ability to discern, the type of woman her mother is, I just hope that eventually Barbadians get to see that love. People.
License, well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining us a little later, this is Dr. Connery Armstrong, and she is the recently ratified candidate for St. Michael North. Now, I'm going to ask you, what are some of the key experiences in your life that shaped who you are today?
Being able to hold the office of games manager person for that year and seeing that Cato at the time and still is a microcosm of society, I made up in my mind within that year to build it that the changes that I was able to bring about at Cato with respect to sport, I wanted to bring about those changes in Barbados. 50 years on, there isn't much that has changed in sport. And the truth is that people would say, oh yeah, the focus is sport, the purpose is sport. But the truth is that we are really dropping the ball with respect to diversifying our economy through sport. And ever so often we see, sports tourism popping up here or there. We see these initiatives happening here or there. But the reality is that we need substantial investment in sport. And I do believe that if we receive the investment that we need, the serious cash injection in sport that we need, and I'm not talking about a World Cup tournament or anything of the sort, because we still don't understand what benefit that's had, to the economy. We still don't know any real financial, forensic accounting pertaining to the benefits, be it immediate or future benefits, I should say, or even the legacy benefits, of the World Cup. But for me, I definitely feel sport being qualified to on the highest levels in my discipline, I do see it as my responsibility as a former national development scholar to literally show people how we can grow our country, grow our economy, and move our country forward by utilizing sport as a key tool. And the University of the West Indies helped shape that for me. I think that's one of the most important.
I'll continue by asking, what was it?
My profession. I tell people all the time, if you are a serious professional, the journey never really. I think I grow and develop at least twice a day. You know, a new experience comes. You speak to a client, you speak to a constituent. I tell people all the time, I've grown the most. Having left Barbados, all bright-eyed, heading to the United Kingdom. You know, getting an opportunity, I would say, being fortunate enough to come back with a qualification that no one else has. But the major challenge I found in the United Kingdom was this classification of being a minority. It never quite sat well with me. And, you know, when you apply for a job or you do anything, any questions that are asked, you fill out a survey, you know, what's your ethnic group? You know, do you classify yourself as being, well, I think they kind of abolished the term now, Black, Asian, minority, ethnic, being Black, minority, ethnic. And I think the politically correct term at this stage is, you know, ethnically diverse. So I leave Barbados, you know, being the majority, go to a country, become a minority. And it seems as if your life it's supposed to be small, I suppose. So I guess the things that I've accomplished in the United Kingdom, having recently resigned from my role, well, not so recent because I gave them about 3 months notice, but recently returned home. But when you go into certain spaces, people act as if, you know, how did she get? How did you get from Barbados to be in this room? How did this happen? Da, da, da. So you often find you're always kind of sharing on how you became or how you did or why you did. And it eventually gets tiring because if I weren't deemed a minority, you know, people would not be so surprised at the things that I would have accomplished. And I definitely feel that drove me more to return home, to continue my work because there is a purpose for what I've done. The truth is, I do intend to stay actually right here if they
That was so much. It gave fuel to your cause, to your purpose. You know?
I think it gave more so you know. In the UK, it was very much tiring. You know, it was just like, just fun. Like, you know, I don't want to have to tell a story every time I meet some person new. I don't want to have to share about aspects of my life. I don't want to have to open up or be this source of motivation or, you know, be that person let down with because, you know, she's different. So, yeah, let's show them that we are diverse in this way, or, you know, our organization hires people. Eventually, it became very tiring. And the minute I got off that plane on January 5th and the warm wind hit my face, I just felt, and I always say that rest, that peace. And you do need that rest and that peace, you know, because if we working during the week, you got to sleep on Sunday night to wake up Monday, sleep on Monday to wake up for Tuesday. So it literally felt, and I returned home at the start of a week. And once I rested Sunday night, I was just ready for whatever was to come. So I'm very, very happy to be back.
Always late first Black woman, first of man, first Asian, first is first up. And you get it in sports a lot. You know, you get it a lot. And it's like, I just wish the world would get to a point where we rate persons based on merit. I don't necessarily, well, he's the first person to do it because she came from Barbados and she's an issue woman in the UK. So she's in the room because she's capable of being in the room, you know. And those are the kind of things that I tend to support for sure. So we were thinking alike, Dr. Connie Armstrong. Tell me a little bit about your community engagement. How have you been involved in the community at this point?
Well, I started canvassing as soon as we were announced on the 21st. I was in the constituency from the 22nd. And what I will say, being back in the urban constituency, I would actually assert that most urban constituencies are quite the same, not just demographically, but in terms of their needs. So you would recognize that in St. Michael North, you have communities that you have, like Fayetteville communities, like Rosette. Needs are practically all the same. And when I say practically all the same, all I have heard across these boxes are we need social spaces, we need places for our cancers. Rosette in particular is in a state, so Rosette's Plainfield needs full landscaping. I definitely feel that the government is serious about, developing communities and rebuilding social spaces. I think Rosette would be a very, very good area to launch a full-on renovation of not just the facilities, but to consider how you can further engage the constituents and the residents in and around Rosette. So I think about 3 seats cover the Rosette area. So it could be a collective project in St. Michael North East, St. Michael West Central, and also St. Michael North, in terms of building that community. It is interesting and again, just quite sad because we know the government has been back in office. This will be another 3 years. And sadly, these needs aren't new. And it's just unfortunate that these communities have not received recognition, have not received help, have not received the assistance. Things as simple as being able to book a community center. I've had to personally call, the office that deals with the actual submissions. I find it problematic that young people who want to utilize a community center have to write a letter to that division to then get permission from the person who has that division to do something as simple as a dance class for younger children in the community. If the government is serious about, upscaling and actually improving on these services, I think they need an electronic system where persons can actually log on to book these spaces, where the communities and the constituents have direct access to these spaces, where these spaces are not monopolized, and a person is, a key contact, and if that key contact doesn't like the person within the constituency, then that person can't utilize the space. I think that investment needs to go into some form of a platform that
Things that I can across almost on a daily basis. Persons who have to get a letter from their MP in order to apply for the job. So someone may see on one of the job ads, they go, for example, one of the requirements. Like, that's probably reaps a little bit about prejudice.
It's not even just the prejudice, it's just downright victimization. And what we have seen in politics within the last 3 years, because yes, there have been 2 sweeping victories at the polls, and one can't overlook that. But equally, there is this undercurrent of fear in the country. So people are fearful of doing this or saying this, or they know that it's a problem, but they're fearful because, their son or daughter got an opportunity under this administration. And essentially, people are fearful and they feel indebted to the government, when truthfully, the government should be indebted to the people of Barbados who voted them in. So you find this weird thing happening in politics where people are just essentially wanting change, but are a bit apprehensive because they don't know what the repercussions in terms of, having their needs met might be, their needs met now. And it is quite scary even going up to campus and seeing some people stand by your window and like call you, because they don't want somebody see them talking to a DLP candidate. It's just a bit odd. I would tell you that, in St. George Self, I remember I hosted the Christmas line back in 2021, yes, and free food, and people would literally come at the window and be like, yeah, well, I want food, but I want nobody see me here. And we're just like, what? So things as simple as, getting things done or even having those basic needs met. People are afraid to let people see that those needs being met, by an opposing individual. But the truth is that the Democratic Labour Party is the alternative. And we need to show people that we are the alternative, and we need to empower people to know that they have a choice. And I want people to trust and believe that when I become the Member of Parliament for St. Michael North, that it doesn't matter whether you are a Barbados Labour Party supporter or a Democratic Labour Party supporter or an independent candidate supporter, you will have a voice. You will have the opportunity to speak to me, to speak up, and to feel as if you're not being judged for those choices. It's something that saddens me actually at this point.
Well, it's definitely refreshing to hear. So, for those who may not, constituency of St.
I mentioned the large people with that. We have other constituencies, other communities, sorry, like Claremont. We have, and it's interesting because I guess we'll speak about this a little later on in terms of the issues. But if you travel now to Lodge Hill and you go through Claremont, you can come through Claremont from the top, or you could come to the bottom of Lodge Hill. You meet a community by the name of West Road. And it is a very interesting community, and the needs of that community itself are unique. And I don't want to disclose too much about the exact community, but what I will say is that the Member of Parliament needs to go and speak to members of that community. As the person who is seeking to unseat him, I do believe until that time comes, he has a job to do. And it is his responsibility to ensure that those residents are taken care of. Most of the communities, we have the husbandry development communities, we have the part of Green Hill, interestingly. We have part of White Hall as well. It is just a seat that when you consider it, you're a bit in St. Thomas, you're a bit in St. James. Ryan and I, we meet on Hines Hill, and he actually came up last Sunday and canvassed with me. But it is just a constituency that's full of life. So, yeah, I like it.
Nice. I'll tell you what, can you share any specific instance up to this point where you've made a tangible impact so far in your political career?
A tangible impact.
I do a 6-part topic question. I guess you're 6 speechless. They won't say it.
I guess the tangible impact would be to let people see that, resilience is one of the qualities that I think any person should possess. And I guess people would say after 2022, I remember I go to my MUA and you're going to certain places and spaces, and people are like, "You're running again?" It's like, yeah, so what happened in 2022? And then it's like, what happened in 2022? The most tangible impact that I've made is to show people that your circumstances don't determine, whether or not you strive for something. It has to be something within you. And I tell people all the time that this journey into politics for me hasn't really been so much so about the external and what people say and what people do. It's about knowing what you've been placed on this earth to do and staying focused on that. Pertaining to my work within St. Michael North at this point in time, as I said, the constituency already has an MP who has to work and who should be working because that's his job. But after we launch imminently, again, because you have to see this race not just as, getting the most votes when election is called, but being very strategic about what you do, when you do it, how you do it, exactly where you do it, and ensuring that everyone and their needs are catered to. And I definitely feel people will feel more of that on the ground, closer to summer. But I am happy to actually have people working. There are certain things that are being done within the constituency that people are complaining to me about. But again, waiting to see where the current MP is going, and then hopefully seeing how we could better improve on that.
So what is your vision?
My vision for the constituency, and we just can't talk about the constituency, but we have to focus on Barbados. So my vision for the constituency and as a hopeful future is essentially to see our people empowered. And I speak a lot about empowerment and even enrichment because again, as I may mention earlier, people feel fearful. People feel as if, oh, the one thing that scares me the most is I'm not voting, BDC, EFG, Z, I am voting. And they see that as them having the power to choose not to vote, when in fact it's the reverse. Because if you don't vote to vote, then you are essentially stuck with the government that gets voted in. So to even empower people to now even believe that they have the right to vote, that your vote is a source of power, your vote is something that should be given off free will, your vote should be something that is given to the person that you think will best represent you, is one of my missions at this point in time. So I always ask whenever I meet a constituent, whenever I go to a house, very openly, what's the vibe presently within this community for the Democratic Labour Party? And I address it right away. So what's the vibe? What are your thoughts on the party? And what that does is that gives people the opportunity to let you know, not just how they feel about the party, but how they feel about you. And being able to stand and listen to the good and the bad, because believe it or not, it is not all bad, to be able to give them the opportunity to speak and to actually take that on. And by the end of that conversation, convince them to vote for you is, I think, one of the most empowering decisions that you can give an individual. And when it comes to the enrichment aspect, I think you hear skills and trade being thrown around a lot, but essentially, how do you do that? And it links right back to the same thing that we spoke about earlier, the community centers. We could go into education. I dare not touch it tonight, sorry, because we will be here forever. But we could go back to the vocational training. We can go back to, sport. We can go back to actually, as soon as a child goes into the system, figuring out what that child loves and what that child is good at, not necessarily academics, but actually being able to continue to build on that throughout that child's life is essentially what would get them to feel, what would allow them, to feel enriched as a human being, give them that social responsibility to feel as if they can make a worthwhile contribution to Barbados. So people talk about the brain drain and the lack of opportunities. And I agree to some extent, but if people are empowered and enriched enough, they create those opportunities. And Barbados will become a country that will facilitate them being able to create and to actually not to have to fit into a box. And as a person who would have left Barbados, always with the intention of returning, do not ever mistake, that I was coming home. The question would have been when. I do believe that there is an element of, yes, there is euphoria, and then reality sets in. And then you're like, every place becomes bad the longer you stay. So I'd rather be bad in a place where there's a beach, where I can relax, where I can be with my family. And bad is relative. And I do see it as our responsibility going forward to ensure that we contribute in a real substantial way to people empowerment and enrichment in this country.
So if someone said, what would the response
I believe you. I absolutely believe you. I will never forget. We were in Colombia for longer, 20-year-old laundry. And my PE teacher at this time was our thoughts that this is that Colombia. And I just always had this habit of needing to say the first thing that came to my mind. And we were in a meeting for BSAT because I was an athlete, and I think we were in a plenary meeting for day 3 or so of VSAC, and we were talking, and Miss Thompson was just going through, the motions, and I just raised my hand and I asked something like, it was something so, it was about what we were planning, but it was just so off topic, and Miss Thompson said, Aubrey, what was that about? Like, we're not talking about that right now. I was a bit late, but it is important. And the truth is, I've always had this habit of speaking up, or maybe speaking out. And because it was recognized early on, in primary and secondary school, anytime anyone wanted something, talked about wanted something fixed, wanted somebody to complain, they would always come to me, or the movement for doctor, something talk about that. And eventually it just became, I'm not sure if it was a good or a bad thing, because I remember being critiqued a lot for being very outspoken. It's only something that I started to accept as a badge of honor, given the way that my career is unfolded and the specificity of my work. But I have just always been one to feel responsible, in any space that I'm in. I just feel responsible, and in this political space, I definitely do feel a sense of responsibility at this point in time, to show the people of Barbados that I'm ready to lead.
Awesome. So let me ask you this question. When you do an overview of St. Law, what do you see as the most pressing issues facing the constituency?
The most pressing issues, I think, across the country and in the constituency is declaring the laws. So again, back to that west road area that I spoke to you about. Right now, given last week and the unfortunate accident that we had with the child being knocked over, students from the Edenlodge Primary School and others who cross that road right now, because of the lot that is there uncleared, they cross from the street right into the road. So if a car is to come right, this is right off the highway, to come through West Road, and a child is seeking to cross, a child could actually get hit at that corner, right? So because the lot isn't clear, there's no clear pathway to actually get into that community. It's just a risk at this stage. So we have a lot of lots that aren't cleared. I think for me, again, the lack of social spaces is problematic. I want to say crime and violence is a national issue. However, because I've been told how sport has actually been able to counteract that in the past in certain communities, I feel as if the redevelopment of sports initiatives specific to communities, and I'm not just speaking to the large cable project, we have to find out what each community requires. To see what initiatives we can tailor to those specific communities. And yeah, structurally, too many buildings are worn down. There's been complaints that there is another housing project, oddly enough, that is going up, and the larger residents would know about this. So where there was the old Kelsey's Minimart, I think they're trying to put up some new housing. And I am supposing it is because when I was chatting with some residents, people started to say everything in the large Democratic Party is built, And perhaps people got offended that it said that the Democratic Party is built everything in the large and other surrounding communities. The critique was that, we have built everything. And because the particular building was unused for some time, they're trying to put it to housing units when that area should actually be utilized more for recreation. And perhaps that's something I challenge the MP to do at this point in time with respect to plight that we are faced with in terms of just the general idleness, our young people particularly don't have any safe spaces to congregate, you know. Our young children don't have any safe spaces to play. And it is something that I believe is of grave concern, not just locally to the constituency, but nationally as well.
Which really shows that there's quite a bit of work to be done in not just like the north, a lot of exterior, especially the urban corridors. And how do you intend to engage your constituents to ensure that their voices are heard?
Touch every host, I've been told by Comrade James Paul, touch every host 3 times, 4 if you could, you know. So trying to get to every host, but equally I would love to build a platform within the next 6 months where persons can actually contact me directly. So obviously WhatsApp is there on my Facebook page, Vote on Armstrong. You could click the tab, come directly to me on WhatsApp. But I actually want to develop a system where you could actually log your concern, state your name, state where you are, and that comes directly to me. And I'd be able to action that within 48 hours. Ideally, that would be the plan.
So repeat that again. Yours, your
Yeah, Vote on Armstrong on Twitter and Facebook. Sorry, on Instagram and Facebook. Vote on Armstrong. Vote D Armstrong on Twitter. If you want to contact me directly, head to Facebook. There's a WhatsApp tab for you to actually come straight to my phone. I answer all of my messages. That's something I need to manage, I guess, in the coming weeks to months. I do answer when you message on my new call, but I think to add a certain level of professionalism to the role, because I think that's what people are looking for at this point in time. To have my platform up and running where you can lodge your concerns with me as your hopeful future MP, and have them action within 48 hours would be the goal at this point in time.
Thank you for that, Donna. Yet again, for any of you who may be joining us a little late, this is the DLP's TV, and you're continuing to get to know all of our candidates. And tonight we are currently interviewing Dr. Courie Armstrong, and she is the recently rectified candidate for St. Michael North. As we delve a little bit into the youth and future generations, how do you plan to inspire and engage young people in politics?
It says that young people at this point in time need autonomy. They need to feel that they're independent in their decision making. And I say this because the 16 to 21-year-olds that you tell 18 to 25 that we want to be demographically correct in movement are actually a lot mature than we were. And I say that because a lot of the issues that face this generation are issues that we would have had to deal with. You know, I could have afforded back in the day to go to uni full time because there was not a necessity to work per se. You know, we have university students right now in 2nd and 3rd year who should really be focusing on their academics, actually needing to work full time in some instances to help with the bills around the house. So we have had our young people kind of thrusted into this sense of responsibility prematurely, because I feel that young people need a space to learn, to grow, to just enjoy their lives, primarily, but to provide spaces in Barbados where young people don't feel forced to become or to do or to, you know, you don't have such and such, so you're not such and such, is where I think politics needs to head in Barbados again. And that comes back to recognizing from a very young age what our children are good at, so that we are the ones fostering their development into the individuals that they are to become. But autonomy, and I could get all psychological and speak about the basic needs, that autonomy, that competence, that relatedness, that has been proven with respect to, you know, motivation and, you know, getting our young people motivated to do anything in life, really. Once those 3 needs are met, autonomy, I find at this stage, is actually most crucial to getting our young people to thrive.
Let's talk a little bit about balance and tradition and innovation. How do you plan to respect the traditions of your constituency while fostering innovation and progress?
I'll tell you the truth, the traditions I just think all these systems need to be updated. You can still preserve traditions, but bring them to the modern day. And I think that's something that we've often spoken about. You know, people speaking about, oh, our Barrow and the essence of who he is being lost now that this present government is in power. You know, it is our responsibility as a Democratic Labour Party to make people aware of the things that we have done within this country. It is our responsibility for people to understand who our Barrow is and what he has done in this country. You know, it is my responsibility to let the residents of St. Michael North understand what Philip Graves has done in St. Michael North. You know, what our Barrow has done in communities like the Plain, communities like Ina Lodge, communities like Silver Hill, particularly. It is our responsibility to respect what was done before us, but equally in seeing Barrow's vision to life, to build on that. So I would say that actually restoring the various units, bringing them more up to date, looking at the recent renovations, obviously in collaboration with the future Minister of Housing, who should be a member of the Democratic Labour Party, looking at the recent advancements I would say in engineering to see how we could actually improve on the types of housing that we provide. Won't look at anything this government is suggesting because we've seen the press of recent with the houses falling in and everything. So there's a way to do it and a way to actually bring Barbados to the modern day, recognizing that our traditions have made us who we are. And I think that's my mission as well, preserving our history.
Well, St. Michael North, as we all know, is a vibrant community. Many areas, President, as you mentioned before, KFL, lots of activities that usually go on in these areas during holidays, bank holidays, summer, etc. From time to time, because we see it kind of on the decline at this point. But I'll add to this, with a number of positive developments, how do you kind of balance development with maintaining its cultural identity? So, just to get it right for you, St. Michael North is like,
Yeah.
but with a number of housing developments. So, how do you kind of balance development while maintaining its cultural identity?
The culture comes from the collective of people within the constituency as they are the ones that shape the culture. Once you continue to connect with your constituency, you continue to connect with people, and you understand what their needs are, then you are that medium preserving that identity within that community. You have to understand what your constituents want. And I think that is the major disconnect right now with the populace and politicians, is because right now we have individuals, for some strange reason, that don't have an understanding of what Barbadians want. And I could even bring this down to this very day. And I know it's not funny, it's nothing to joke about. And I was on a telephone call this morning. So for some reason, I left home with $100, right? I don't know why I thought $100 was stretched long enough. You go into town, and this is after I rested, you go into town, and you recognize, well, the $100 probably in last time past midday, so you think,
So,
this is the town. So I think to myself, you know what, I love a milkshake, that's $11.50 to buy a milkshake, you know. I've been to have lunch and spent almost $30 in food. So I remember walking about this $100, like, where is this going? And then I thought, some people in Barbados make $250 a week. And I am just a bit like, oh, in heaven's name are people in this country surviving, you know? And again, the disconnect comes when politicians sit on a TV and say that the cost of living isn't bad, or you have, you know, the central bank government speaking about growth. I wonder if these people going to town at all. I wonder if these people go and patronize some of the people that sit down on a daily basis, who probably may even make less than $100 in a day, who have rent to pay. And I am not even just speaking to, you know, people with a lower income. I fail to see how people with middle incomes even are actually surviving in this country. It is scary. Yes, I've been gone, in January would have been 7 years. Yeah, 7 years I was gone, but it is unreal how life in Barbados has changed between 2018 to 2025. So when you hear people saying, oh, the issue isn't the cost of living, Bajans just need skills. Bajans need money. The government has to find a way to get money circulating. And you hear people saying money scarce, and people joke about it from the time what's small, you scarce than $100 bill. $100 bill is literally the scarcest thing right now. So for politicians to actually not understand the fact that money is just evaporating and people aren't spending because it is so hard to come by. And an economy can only grow if people are really spending money. I need to understand how the figure is projecting growth when really there is no stability, It is scary for me, and it is very scary. I can, so each time I put $100 in, at first I just thinking, boy, I'm coming back home with this.
This is brilliant money plus. From here, it just goes down. Just
Something that to me, sorry, I did say that I was here with this again because there is a disconnect. So not only is there dire need, but I was in town, will not state the school. But a child walked up to me and asked me for money. And I told the child, I am not upset with you at all for asking me for this money. I'm just afraid of who you may ask. Like, I'm just afraid of, suppose some person who does not have good intentions for a child, recognizing, they said that they need the bus fare and whatnot. Just wondering if the mother knows that the child was doing this and it was a girl child, Not to say it should make a difference with gender, but we know when it comes to, victimization and other things of that nature, it's oftentimes perpetuated more against women. So we have this young girl child in overalls, asking for money. And I thought to myself, if she needs the bus fare to get home, how is she going to get to school tomorrow? And equally, if those needs aren't being met at home, and there's a parent in the house, why does that parent not have money? And it comes down to the same issue that I highlighted with the $100. There's no money, and our politicians need to get into households to find out why, there's no money. And I am not going to take politicians seriously, no, until I understand why we have such a problem in this country. School children on the road begging is something that, I can.
Well, it's a deep story. I must say, ladies and gentlemen, that is Dr. Donnery Armstrong. And she is the recently ratified candidate for St. Michael North. But Dawn, before you go, I'm going to give you a chance to say a couple words to his constituents in St. Michael North.
You will see me. You will see me for a very long time. I definitely feel that the time for the Democratic Labour Party to take back St. Michael North is no. And I really do hope that you feel encouraged to even reach out to me. If you don't see me, you have been messaging, and there are places that I know that I need to go. But always know that I'll be here, to listen, to talk, to chat, to play even. And just let me know what you want from me and how I could best be of service.
Thank you so much. I know for a fact we will hear lots of Dr. Donnery Armstrong. This is a special week for all the members of the Democratic Party. It's a week last year when the president of the Democratic Labour Party, leader of the opposition, there was so much going on. One of the most beautiful things to happen was when the member of parliament for Christchurch South, he crossed the floor and he joined the Democratic Labour Party, becoming the leader of the opposition and a member of parliament for the Democratic Labour Party. And as we take a few minutes to reminisce on that moment, we are going to do that with none other than former General Secretary of the Democratic Labour Party, Mr. Derek Ali. Allow me to welcome Dr. Derek Ali to the set. Good night to you, sir.
How you doing? Good to see you.
Well, it's good to see you, Dr. Ali.
You want my favorite young Democrat?
Well, I had a conversation with Dr. Don a few minutes ago, and we were trying to figure out if we're still young or not.
Always be young, and 71, so you always be young.
You will always be young. I was here saying about the fact that only a year ago, and they were part of the place herself, and the Honorable Ralph Torrance, he would have also enjoyed our party, given us back a presence in the lower house of parliament. And becoming a leader of the opposition also for a party. I wanted to invite you here this evening, Dr. Allen, to just spend a few minutes reminiscing with us on that momentous occasion, what it meant not only for our party, but also for Barbados.
I must say without hesitation that it was a very signal moment in politics. Many people know that in 2018, actually crossed those words. And therefore, people would be saying that Abdully crossed no bad problems with the issue. But if you really internalize it, Mr. Abdully would have not been in a position to speak about anything the government had done. The government was in office for a couple of weeks, and they had no record as being a government. So Mr. Abdully found himself in a very awkward position. So anything he made a criticism about was really about the former government. Therefore, for most of Mr. Abdully's position as lead opposition, there was nothing really to criticize the then Morley administration about, because they had not yet been in government. Mr. Stone was different. The track record. And he had been sitting in the armchairs of the government for 3.5 years. And he was therefore able to make a judgment on what the government was doing, what it was transforming Barbados, who were the people benefiting from any transformation being made. And it became very clear to me that he had decided he had enough of it. And that transition then, to me, made a lot of difference in the politics. Mr. Thorne came over a year ago, just as the estimate will be presented, and straight away, I don't know, I just have often said to him, I don't know where he got the energy from, but he took on the estimates as though he had been in opposition before. He took them on, and then he went to the budget. And I have heard many political theorists one of the best responses to our budget 60 years of dominant.
So would you say that was the Smith in the century on his debut against, I think it was South Africa or Australia many years ago?
You know, I know you made reason. I like you. I just think that in Bible stupid, right? No, it was Jack here, and he caught Barbados. He caught the attention, and since then he's kept the attention. And when last Friday, I was in the house when he was discussing the fisheries maritime bill, and I'm telling you, I came out. There were the comments. And the matter. People don't understand. Being 1 against 29 is 200% different than being 2 against 28. When you finish speak, 29 people can say whatever they like without another rebuttal. So, Mr. Thorne's contribution Therefore, then places on record what quality is against the rest. I don't say since the budget, the Prime Minister has not engaged Mr. Thorne at all. It makes a statement. She will be present, but not in environment, present in compound. But said Mr. Thorne dealt with Mr. Morty during the last budget and dealt with the whole issue. Ms. Morty has not engaged Mr. Thorne in the House of Assembly since then.
So remind us for who don't know about the Derrick. Before there was the leader of Parliament, what was the parliamentary structure like for estimates?
Well, the government delivered the heads, clap the table, deliver another head, clap the table, ask sums of money, no queries. What it cleverly did was to bring up public servants and put them in the relevant partner, chief education officer, or the chief youth affairs officer, or whoever, and grill them to the point that some of them felt embarrassed that they had to come and defend things that they were not the authors of.
Even intimidated in some
Yes, to the point where, I mean, one of them went home and sick leave and then retired. It was horrible. But Mr. Thorne has brought a new dimension. Although as he would say, he's the only member, he's not alone. Because he's getting the pulse of Barbadians to keep representing the people of Barbados. But it's also another point. A lot of these legislative requirements and public office appointments require an agreement from the immediate opposition. So when you go make appointments, although the tradition has been that government will get its way, they still require the support of the office. Even if it's going regionally to carry town meetings and so on, there's always a movement with the presence or the voice of the lead office. So again, Mr. Thorne being in the house. I'm not talking about his performance, I'm talking about the requirements of the office.
So to qualify your position, Dr. Derrick, to speak on these issues, what has your working relationship been like with the opposition leader, Mr. Ralph?
You really have a very good relationship. 1994, we ran Friday, 1999. He would tell you that when we were on the platform, Thorne and I didn't Thorne. We were thorns in people's name. I mean, we had our relationship. It wasn't Jerry all the time. He lived in Gazette, I live in Black Rock. We have been friends, went to the hall, on Armstrong College, but even at the hall, went to school in Word. Therefore, he was like that from me. Because we all express, or we went to the hall. So we have that connection, the greatest ever.
From your perspective, what has Mr. Ralph received by the members?
But I always pause. Some people who will remember that you left. You have incumbents, that your presence will rob them out of positions that they hold the challenge what they have. And then you have some people that have personal issues with you. That's not like that. Right? Say thank you. I will not have clear sailing, but I'm committed to the cause. I'm willing to work with each and every individual, every organ in this party, and to work with Barbadian institutions generally to bring opposition together. And that's my first mission, bring opposition together. After that, I will build together people that can lead the government. That's what. Working everything has been sometimes because We are told on the activists when we did this became so we have to know change that. Or the arrangement of it with that eventually. Working with him. Either I don't working rather than
So currently, we can see that Mr. Torrance is next preparing, maybe hit another hundred next week.
I really, I would say that I know he's anxiously looking forward to do the estimate and to do a response. But we started to get our team together, start anticipating some of the government policies and programs. There are a lot of promises that have been made since last year, April. We said we need to report on home. Why call it home? Because they didn't call me that. There's a commission set up on national security, because they won't call it work for the ballot. I mean, it's that this committee on peace, safety, and something. I really know how much meetings they had. My information is confusion box. There was a report that the Constitution Committee submitted, supposedly a discussion on that. I've been here, tell you where we're going with that. There was a town commission on local government. So we still waiting to hear. There was supposedly a report coming out from several committees to deal with what happened in COVID, aftermath, COVID, and where we're going. Nothing. So we can't wait. Mr. Strong cannot wait for the response to the
We are definitely in a waiting pattern, because I mean, now wherever I go across the length of the breadth of Barbados, everybody says, do not give up. We need a democratic Labour Party. This country needs an opposition. You're told that like, we need someone to speak up and speak against some of the things that are happening. By extension, what do you think Barbados has accepted Mr. Ralph as the leader of the opposition?
I would say, if there are going to be people who have personal likes and interests. My cousin called. There's so many people that went into the thinking. There's consultants, and if I get in a slice of bread, baker, I give me a slice of bread, it's standing over. I have no negative comments to make. But generally, other than those influencers, those, I think Mr. Torrance and well received in Barbados. I think we're always going to find people who have some negative comment to make. But I was moved significantly in my stomach when I went to the lecture. The embarrassing.
I was not going to ask you about that, actually.
And I mean, forget the size of the crowd, forget the quality of the presentation. But people stayed on long after it was finished. And that came on the back of the church service, one of the biggest Moravian churches in Barbados. Wesleyan Holiness churches in Barbados, in St. John. When we got there, we had the same 4 rows for us, 4 pews. Service for you were upstairs. Democratic Party members, the 4 were taking the church, half the left side, and the summons upstairs. That was the turnout to support us. Okay. And I know that a lot of comments were made about other aspects of the party, going back to the early days of the transition. Conference in August, there's a lot of negative publicity and so on. But I think ever since then, we've got a new vibrant president, new vibrant secretary, and young executive members, like 30 and 35, and that's already his group who got all her running with the team. Democrats had a meeting 2 Sundays ago out in St. Michael Northwest, and good turnout, good contribution. You were there, sir. Excellent meeting. No fault. But you know, we don't control the media. This is the only opportunity we have to get our message positively out. Whenever we hit the other mainstream people, they always find something that is supposed to be negative targets. I want to thank Mr. Dorn for bringing his years of experience, his intellect, ability to get on with people. Inspired. I know because you got personal relationship with person, people will feel like you doing call and stuff.
Well, I'll tell you, Donna, I mean, I want to thank you so much for coming and sharing a little bit with us as we reminisce on the 1 year anniversary, Mr. Florida. So, coming yet again back home, the Democratic Labour Party leading the opposition cause in this country. It will be remiss of me to sit here tonight, Dr. Allen, and let you go without asking you a couple of questions. One of these nights, we are going to have a one-on-one session with you, for sure. You know, and while I'm speaking to you, let me say well wishes to historian Mr. Marshall, who is not well, sending Godspeed and really sincerely wish that he is much better. Before you get into any question, my next question, I'll give you a chance to get you. And in terms of wishing them delicious.
So Trevor's been standing, I'm getting to experience. Standing by who's given his life, educating all of us, even if we're not a student of his, sometimes sit down. I have never been in his class. I had inspirational discussions with him about history, my history. And he was part of my love. He gave me that inspiration to do history. And the way he made it live. And he continued to do so. I had some very personal moments with him when I was at NPW, representing his cause against some malpractice at college. I also enjoyed doing tours with him from Bridgetown and so on. And also by being a friend, a person committed to the cause area. I wish him best recovery that is possible. And I hope that we will have him around for this. Don't think we can let him go before we do some interviews with him, really talk to him. And I can only wish Godspeed.
Well wishes to you, sir. Yet again tonight, we are coming back to the base foundation tonight. We are continuing to interview our candidates. We recently ratified 15 candidates as we continue our preparations for the upcoming elections, whenever they may take place. And having you here, Dr. Ali, you would have run back in the day in the 90s. Tonight we interviewed Mr. Aduke from Bridgetown West. We had Dr. Armstrong, who's going to be representing St. Michael North. Tell us a little bit about your experience. I mean, today still you are with the young guys out there canvassing. Call you anytime for advice, for presence to speak. You are always available, sir. My first question to you: what is the difference between then and now, as far as canvassing is concerned?
I sit and listen to people. I heard a political writer, expert, make a comment about democratic reference. They joined them back in private student foundations in the accepted to make this school time. Jews, you all Jack Walker, foundation time. My pull into politics was the quality of the speakers on the platform. Judah, Barra could not do in terms of public speaking. Spring, Robinson Scallon, Patsy Springer, Legna Cry, Louis Tell. You had people that when you went to their meeting, you learn something. You remember a word, a phrase. I remember the first time we hear that we had melancholy day. Today was the melancholy day. I never heard the word before. Come on, the platform, so you have fun away mode. You said, oh yeah, people saying that politicians short, keep to ahead, or the people ahead. Politicians supposed to educate, activate, lift it up. You got people who are making warning statements in Parliament. Huh? And you go in Parliament last Friday and was embarrassed. When Mr. Tom finished, I can sit down there. I can listen, but watching debate today on television. And I listen to people and apart from practical, the rest ain't connecting. There's no connection with the subject matter. So that's different at that level. But there's also differences. You and Cameron say, you're going to walk along with a pocket full of money. No, you're only going to consider, you got a pocket full of money, you got to go. And people running down the it's a change. And the politicians taking people on the yard. You're in the constituency, people wanted you to articulate issues for their development, for their involvement in a youth group, they're a member of a club, they want to know you're going to be able to have the club, if you're going to be able to have in that more teams. That's the difference. And I sometimes prove it is honest, you had people, politicians in this day. And when he said that, a lot of politicians encourage that kind of behavior, that American dependent begging mentality that you got. It's be the politicians be beyond and the end all of everything. And therefore, if the politician, you can't survive. Therefore, that's why so many little French groups, influencers, people who are known for all kinds of reasons, find themselves as politicians to become people. Some of these politicians in Parliament, I say this, and anybody can question me. If they were not elected, nobody would know them. If they're in Parliament Friday and people, politicians walking, I didn't know them. I had to turn it up. Which one that is? You know, who's that? I've been around long. People could come in the house and you gotta be asking which one that is. Then I hear people saying that storm pick people that people don't know. You got people that elected. And people don't know them. And the truth is that some of them that come on the radio and the television and make presentations, they embarrass you. They embarrass you because they don't connect with the subject. They come and they make statements. And what something that upset me are that they don't mean what they say. You know, there's no ain't coming from the belly. It's not something that burning them that they come in with an answer to deal with the problem. They're rehearsing some statement that somebody write and give them and tell them go and say that. That's what politics is. And the other issue is that everything, as a matter of fact, Mr. Torrance said last Friday, yeah, where the only member of Parliament in here that got a vision is the Prime Minister. You mean no other member in cabinet ain't got the vision? Everything tacked to the Prime Minister, tacked to the Prime Minister. Every person that makes the statement start with thanking the Prime Minister for the vision. So Mr. Torrance said, none of the rest of they ain't got the vision. Then the initiative, and they hate me. He was right. You can't get any understanding and make a statement unless you start with the Prime Minister as he bringing the message, evoking the idea, creating the environment. And it's really sad. It's really sad. And I'm glad that Storm is taking a position that all of his people will get a chance to tell Barbados what you're about, what he or she is about, and to put their position on. You have a voice and independent in their thoughts, so that they can represent your constituencies without shoulder and belly to the world.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Dr. Derek Ali, for coming and sharing that exciting insight with us. My last question for you, short and sweet. What advice do you have for Mr. Educated and Dr. Marie Armstrong?
The only way that you're going to be accepting constituency is to know this. Know your constituents. And I tell people, house cameras is one thing, but know your constituency. Know where the shops are, where the mechanics are, where the where know your constituency. So that when you open your mouth, you can speak about the needs. You think the achievements, strengths, and so on, but know your constituency. All this, I say, yeah, do your house, but know your constituency. What are the strengths of it, what you need to know. Connect with people, connect with them. That's the only way you can be a good one.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Derek Ali, and those parting words. Know your constituents and connect with the people. This is DLP TV, and we're wrapping up another series as we continue to get to know our candidates. Honest voices for the people. Thank you so much. I'm your host, Courie Cox. Good night, and bye to everyone.
Dancers, come forward, walk out. This one I got worldwide.
Just days after former government backbencher Ralph Thorne crossed the floor, he's taken the oath of office as leader of the opposition.
Cross the floor, let me do it some more like Ralph Thorne. Ralph Thorne. On the other side, cross the floor, cross the floor, cross the floor, let me do it some more like Ralph Thorne. Wait there, Ralph Thorne. Dancing, come back again. Our turn is the latest trend. Everybody know link up a friend. This one designed for the
And more will be left over.
dancing, come back again. Our turn is the latest.
Are these trips so important?
Link up a friend. This one designed for the women and men.
Yes, I'm for real, member.
Take a
I am for real.
and I can't decide, so I'm moving with
Don't
the
let me talk out your
moving with
business.
the tide.
Don't let me talk out your business.
Take a wine
All
on the
right.
left side. And I can't decide, so I'm moving with the tide. 'Cause I'm ready to mash up the body. Oh gosh, I can mash up the body. So let me do this now. 'Cause I'm ready to mash up the body. Oh gosh, I can mash up the body. Yes, yes. And let me go now. Cross the floor, cross the floor, cross the floor. Let me do it some more like Ralph Thorne. Ralph Thorne. On the other side, cross the floor.
There has to be some order here.
Cross the floor, let me do it some more like Ralph.
The Minister of Finance is not party to this present transaction, Your Honor. Ask him to keep quiet, please. And I say to you further, Mr. Speaker, that my conscience, my location here is related to my conscience. I said it last year. It is well with my soul.
Take a wine on the left side, and I can't decide, so I'm moving with the tide, moving with the tide. Take a wine on the right side, take a wine on the left side, and I can't decide, so I'm moving with the tide. 'Cause I'm ready to mash up the body. Oh gosh, I can mash up the body. So let me do this now. 'Cause I'm ready to mash up the body. Oh gosh, I can mash up the body. Yeah, yeah. And let me go now. Cross the floor, cross the floor, cross the floor. Let me do it some more like Ralph Thorne. Ralph Thorne. On the other side, cross the floor, cross the floor, cross the floor. Let me do it some more like Ralph Thorne. Ralph Thorne.
That is my man, so whether he cross or in cross, he will always be there for us.
I came to a point where I had to take the decision that if my philosophical and political views do not accord with those of government in terms of its legislation, in terms of its policy, the relationship becomes untenable.